What is going on, Raiders? Soda Dragon here. Welcome and hope you guys are doing well. So what I got for you guys today is a new speed tune for your Unkillable Iron Twins 15 team. But first, guys, check this out. I'm number 1 on the Champ Chase leaderboards, and if I stay number 1, not only am I getting extra Uko fragments, but I'm getting that nice feast. I love the feast, but if I get number 2, that's okay too, though. I'm not going to spend any shards to keep my number 1 position. Even number 2 here gets some extra Uko frag, so that's fine with me, though. I would love to be number 1. Now today, guys, I'm only going to talk about a speed tune using 3 Painkeepers and either Roshcard or Santa. Now, the triple Painkeeper Maneater comp is a separate speed tune, and the triple Painkeeper Helicath comp is a separate speed tune. But once again, today we're only talking about the Santa triple Painkeeper or the Roshcard triple Painkeeper. By the way, guys, if you're new to the idea of a triple Painkeeper comp for the Iron Twins, what it gives you is it gives you basically the easiest way possible with the least champs and least gearing possible to build your unkillable or fully block damage Iron Twins team. That means in either of these teams, you cannot die. And a huge benefit of triple Painkeeper comps is that they only require 1 champion with either AoE, Unkillable, or AoE block damage. That is it. There are a lot of comps running around that use double Man-Eaters, or double Man-Eaters and Roshcard, or double Man-Eaters and Helicath, or any combination of Unkillable champs. So basically, this type of comp, you only need 1 AoE Unkillable or block damage champ. So once again, it is much more resource friendly and champion friendly to use 1 AoE block damage or Unkillable champ than multiple ones. And guys, let me address this early on because some of you guys are asking, well, can I substitute in a Renegade for a Painkeeper, or maybe a Kymar, or maybe a Yumiko? So these are all champs that can reset or reduce the cooldowns of your skills, basically allowing you to use your cooldown skills more often. So instead of 1 Painkeeper, maybe can have like 1 Painkeeper and 1 Renegade, etc. Can I substitute the Painkeepers? That's the basic question. And the answer is maybe, but it's going to be more complicated, and here's why. So all the champs I mentioned besides Painkeeper, what they cannot do when they reset or reduce the cooldown skills of their allies is reset their own cooldown skills. So let's say you have 2 copies of Renegade. She will not reset the other Renegade skills, or she will not reduce the cooldowns of the other Renegade skills. This is the same thing for Kymar, the same thing for Yumiko. But Painkeeper does not have this restriction. So when she reduces the cooldown of all of her allies' skills, this includes other copies of Painkeeper. Once again, this is not true of Renegade, of Yumiko, or of Kymar. So we read this in the second sentence of the skill description. It says, this skill does not affect this champion or other champions with this skill. Well, what other champions would have this skill? Other Renegades. And you'll see this type of language with Kymar and with Yumiko as well. But now, guys, let's jump over to Painkeeper. So yes, her cooldown reduction skill only reduces the cooldowns by 1, but notice there is no restriction on it. What does it say? Decreases the cooldowns of all ally skills by 1 turn. It doesn't say except allies with this skill or anything like that. There's no exceptions here. So basically what 3 Painkeepers are doing is they're resetting or reducing the cooldowns of everybody's skills, including themselves. And that leads to obviously a lot more cooldown reduction for other champions like your Santas, your Unkillable champions, your Roshcards, your Geos, whoever, okay? Basically, it's reducing everyone's cooldowns a ton. Now, I'm sure in the future, people will come up with Unkillable and block damage comps using Renegade and maybe Kymar, maybe Yumiko. So we can look forward to that in the future. But as of now, I think at least the simplest and the least gear-intensive options as far as Unkillable and block damage teams for the Iron Twins are going to be these triple Painkeeper comps. All right, guys, so here is your team. We have Santa here casting Unkillable for 2 turns, and this is cooled down by those Painkeepers. So every 2 turns, he can keep on casting that Unkillable to keep everybody unkillable. Plus, we have Geo here for the damage through his reflected damage from his HP burn. So guys, if you've seen speeds like this, or at least speeds around this range, notice everyone's over 200. So this isn't the easiest comp to build as far as speed. You're gonna need a lot of leftover speed gear to literally have everyone over 200. So I've come up with a new speed tune with greatly reduced speeds on everybody except Santa, except your Unkillable or your block damage, because they need to go before the boss. The boss is speed 250, so we need our Unkillable or block damage champ to go before that. So there's no getting around that, okay? That champion needs to be fast, but everybody else, I found a way to significantly reduce their speeds. So guys, check this out. Here are the new speeds. Look at that. Geo 178, Painkeeper 182, the other Painkeeper 168, the slowest Painkeeper 168, and we'll have one Painkeeper barely over 200, 206. Now once again, we need our Saint Nick or Unkillable or block damage champ to be faster than the boss, over 250. But beyond that, everyone's speeds have been significantly reduced. And no guys, this isn't just on the calculator. I've actually built this team and tested it out with these speeds. So yes, it will work. So here's the thing I noticed with the faster speed tune, that the Painkeepers were actually over reducing the cooldowns required for Saint Nick or Roshcard. That is, they were reducing the cooldowns too much, over what was needed. So the thing is, they didn't actually have to be that fast. So after a lot of trial and error, these were the speeds that I came up with, because once again, the faster speeds were over cooling down either Saint Nick or Roshcard. And notice here when we see that you are unkillable, at least for 50 turns here on the calculator, this is completely unkillable. And every time I tested it, it is completely unkillable however long the run lasts. So guys, I'll leave a link to the calculator in the pinned comment below, so make sure to check it out. So are these the slowest speeds possible for this speed tune? Well, the thing is, on the calculator, there were some slower speeds with the champions that seemed to work on the calculator, but when I actually tried them, they didn't work. So I'm not gonna say like this calculator is wrong, but I think I put in all my gear and everything correctly, and still certain speeds that worked on the calculator didn't work in real life. This is why I try to test this stuff out before I give it to you guys. I'm not going to give you just some calculator math comp, okay? But yes, it seems like there are certain slower speeds that may work on the calculator that for me didn't work in real life. On to the skill instructions. So for Santa here, make sure to turn off the A2 here, polar protection, or this run will fail according to the calculator. And you can either leave the A3 as default, or you can put it as the first priority. So for Geo here, I turn on Quicksand Grasp as the first priority, and I turn off the A2. Firstly, because the A2 doesn't do anything against the boss, and secondly, because I don't get that bonus accuracy from the Charged Focus Mastery if he uses this skill, so I just turn it off. So for the Painkeepers, all three of them have these same priorities. So Combat Tactics is always going to be the first priority. And Spectacular Sweep is going to be the second. Now, it doesn't matter how Spectacular Sweep is booked. Fully booked or not, it doesn't matter. Just put it as the second priority. That being said, two of the slower Painkeepers are going to have the A2 here as their opener. So you see these two slower Painkeepers here? The A2 is the opener, but my fastest Painkeeper here is just going to have no opener. So she's just going to use her default, that is the Combat Tactics. Since it's the first priority, she's going to use that first. So once again, the two slower Painkeepers have them open with the A2, but the fastest one, no opener. She's just going to default to whatever the priorities are. So guys, as far as gearing for these champions, all you need to worry about for your non-DPS champs, so the three Painkeepers and the Santa or the Roshcard, all you need to worry about for those four champs is, are they at the right speeds and do they have the right cooldown skills booked? That is literally it. They can be level 1s pulled fresh from shards, and as long as you book out those right skills and you put enough gear, just enough to get them to the right speeds, they're good to go. No levels, no ascensions, no rank ups, no nothing. Just the speeds and certain skills booked out. And did I mention they don't need any masteries either? Well, they don't. Once again, all they need are the right speeds, which I showed you in the calculator, and the right skills being booked. Now, what skills for the Painkeepers and the Roshcard or Santa need to be booked? It's easy to remember because it's all the same. All of them need their A3s booked. All of them. That's it. It's that simple. Now remember guys, when I'm talking about the books, I'm not talking about your DPS. Whoever your DPS is, whether it's Geo or whoever, book them out however you want. It doesn't matter. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter to the speed tune as far as it's working, all right? So book out your DPS however you want. But when it comes to the essential champs for this comp, there's the Santa, the Roshcard, and the three Painkeepers. All of them need to have that A3 booked out. Now guys, as far as gear, put whatever you want on your champs to get them to the right speeds. It really doesn't matter. What I have on my Santa is some leftover speed gear. And no accessories here. Check that out. Now remember, for the skills, all we need is this A3 booked out for everybody, for your Santa or your Roshcard and your Painkeepers. All you need is their A3s booked out. So use as many books as you need to get their A3s booked out. But once you have that and the speeds, you're good to go. Now, as far as masteries, yes, I have masteries on my Santa. I have War Master here to get bonus damage based off enemy max HP, but that's not required. There are no masteries required on any of the champions for this speed tune. And guys, as far as the pain keepers with these new reduced speeds, well, what gear do they have on now? They basically have on toxic gear because the speeds are so low now. Look, a lot of the champs here don't even have full gear beyond that 4-piece toxic set. That's it. And a lot of them aren't even fully leveled up, okay? But the nice thing about that toxic is you're bringing in that poison, which does percentage-based damage against the boss, and the set does not require any accuracy. And guys, just to reiterate, yes, all of the pain keepers do need their A3s fully booked out. So use as many books as you need to get this fully booked out. But as far as masteries, remember, no one in this comp needs any masteries. Now, one added benefit of the slower speeds is that a lot of things are easier to build, especially if you're using a Geo. So for stage 15 with the Iron Twins, you're gonna need like 550 plus accuracy to like reliably like 97% land those debuffs, all right? So for your DPS, yeah, you want high accuracy, but it's really hard to build, especially if you have to build other stats like HP, defense, speed. I mean, it's really hard, right? But with this new comp, how much speed does Geo need? 178. 178. All of a sudden, that 550 plus accuracy isn't that intimidating because that's pretty much all you need to build besides get that speed to 178, which really isn't that hard. You need 2 stats, that's all. If you're using a Geo, you don't need HP, you don't need attack, you don't need defense, you don't need crit rate, crit damage, don't need resistance. Literally, you only need 2 stats, and 2 stats are much easier to build than like 5 stats. And for this particular comp, because Geo skills getting cooled down so much, it would almost be a waste for you to put a reflex set on him. Save that reflex stuff, okay? Reflex on Geo is OP, it's awesome, but you don't need it. So just put your Geo in like all perception. You're good to go. You get the speeds and the accuracy, that's it, because the skills are being cooled down so much, he will land that HP burn a ton. So save your precious reflex gear for your other Geos, I mean like I have, and your Hydra teams or whatever, because he doesn't need it for this comp. Now my Geo does have masteries, but as I mentioned, no one on the team requires masteries. Nobody, okay, including your DPS. Just do it if you want. Now, yes, I do need mastery, especially like Eagle Eye, to get Geo's accuracy where I need it to be for stage 15s. But let's say you don't. Let's say you have enough accuracy from your substats, from your accuracy chest, and your accuracy banner. Then yeah, you don't need any masteries at all. So once again, no one requires masteries on this team. So how fast does this team run? Well, pretty quick, at least in my opinion. Now it depends on your expectations, but look at how many budget champs we have in here. 3 3-stars, and they could be level 1s. Nobody here besides your DPS needs to be leveled up at all. And even your DPS, depending on who you choose. If it's Geo, he doesn't have to be leveled up either. So think about their gear. Some of them were barely geared. All these gear slots missing gear. Considering all that, yeah, we got a sub 2-minute run right here. So I think most of you guys know this, but just in case, full block damage comps or full unkillable comps are always affinity friendly. So of course, this team being an unkillable comp is affinity friendly. And once again, as I mentioned, you can plug Roshcard in here with the same speeds. And yes, that being a full block damage team would be affinity friendly also. On to the skill instructions. So for Santa here, make sure to turn off the A2 here, polar protection, or this run will fail according to the calculator. And you can either leave the A3 as default or you can put it as the first priority. So for Geo here, I turn on Quicksand Grasp as the first priority and I turn off the A2. Firstly, because the A2 doesn't do anything against the boss, and secondly, because I don't get that bonus accuracy from the Charged Focus Mastery if he uses this skill, so I just turn it off. So for the Pain Keepers, all 3 of them have these same priorities. So Combat Tactics is always going to be the first priority. And Spectacular Sweep is going to be the second. Now, it doesn't matter how Spectacular Sweep is booked. Fully booked or not, it doesn't matter. Just put it as the second priority. That being said, 2 of the slower Pain Keepers are going to have the A2 here as their opener. So you see these 2 slower Pain Keepers here? The A2 is the opener, but my fastest Pain Keeper here is just going to have no opener. So she's just going to use her default. That is the Combat Tactics. Since it's the first priority, she's going to use that first. So once again, the 2 slower Pain Keepers have them open with the A2, but the fastest one, no opener. She's just going to default to whatever the priorities are. So this is a completely full auto run. Same thing if you had Roshcard in here instead of Santa. Just click battle, come back in a few minutes, and you've won. Now, some of you guys might be asking, well, can I substitute in Healycath for Santa? Or can I substitute in Maneater for Santa with the same speeds in this comp, and will it work? And the short answer is no, it won't. But I'm working on it. So don't worry, I'm coming out with a slower speed tune for that triple Painkeeper Healycath comp and a slower speed tune for the triple Painkeeper Maneater comp. So don't worry, but those speed tunes are going to be different from these. So no, you cannot just plug in those champs into the Santa slot here, the Unkillable or block damage slots, and expect it to work. It won't work. But don't worry, I'll come out with more videos on those. But guys, before I leave you, I have a fun question for you. Now, I did mention that you can substitute in Roshcard here for Santa with the same speeds and everything would work. So let's say we did that. Let's say we had a full block damage team here with Roshcard instead of Santa. The question is, who would be the best DPS on that team? Would it be an enemy max HP champ like Acrisia, or would it still be Geo? So guys, check this out. Here are your speeds. Now, everyone is exactly the same. All three Painkeepers have that toxic set. The Roshcard is the same with War Master, basically getting the same amount of damage as a Santa should. So everything is similar except for the DPS. Now here, we're seeing Acrisia coming in and bringing this run to about 5 minutes. Now I tested it a few times. It's about 4 to 5 minutes. That's about the average. So not the fastest run in the world. It's not like a speed run, but on the other hand, not the slowest run in the world. It's not like a Paragon solo run. But guess how long the run is with Geo, even in a block damage comp? This may surprise you. Check this out. The Geo run is significantly faster. Now, Geo with block damage is not as fast as Geo with Unkillable, but it's a lot faster than enemy max HP with anything. So I thought you guys would get a kick out of this. I was hoping Geo wouldn't be our #1 DPS option for literally every type of Iron Twins comp. But unfortunately, it seems like he is. He even put to shame my new champ, Acrisia here, and she has almost 300 crit damage. So yeah, Geo is still your best option, if you have him, that is. Alright guys, that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out ING's Iron Twins calculator linked below. And if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, and share. Turn on all notifications. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.